So I like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman as much as the next guy. But if I'm being honest with myself, I do have a little bit of a soft spot for some of the seedier characters in DC's publishing line. Over the past couple of years, DC Comics has done a wonderful job continually publishing a Justice League Dark comic housed with degenerates featuring the likes of Constantine, Detective Chimp, Dr. Fate, Zatanna, and more. Sadly, that comic book is no longer published by DC, but today DC is publishing a Dark Crisis one shot featuring a lot of those characters and elements. My name is Arco Braddock, and today let's go ahead and dive into Dark Crisis The Deadly Green #1. But before we get deeper into the video, I want to encourage you to go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's introduce our creative team. There are so many wonderful creators on this issue, which actually makes reading off the creative team one of my most favorite parts about this review. This issue is written by Alex Paknadel, Dan Waters, and Ram V. The art is from Daniel Bayliss, Tom Derenick, George Kambadais, my apologies if I didn't get that name right, and Brent Peeples. The colors are from Matt Herms, letters are from Troy Peteri, and the cover is by Goni Montes. Okay, we have the creative team here. Let's go ahead and read off the solicitation text so we can just understand a little bit more about the context of the issue. Superman and the Swamp Thing uncover the secrets of the Great Darkness. During the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, Swamp Thing encountered and formed a truce with the Great Darkness. But this ancient force has been awakened by Pariah, and now its influence is felt across the multiverse. Now the Avatar of the Green must work together with the new allies to investigate how far it spread and why it would work with Pariah. If they want to stop the Great Darkness from swallowing the Green, they need some extra help. Enter Super Swamp Thing. So without further ado here, I want to go ahead and show off our preview of Dark Crisis, The Deadly Green from Adventures in Poor Taste. Big thanks to Adventures in Poor Taste for posting these previews of the issue so quickly. And yeah, I just want to start here by showing off the excellent artwork for the series. And there are a really, just so much talent introduced, across this series. And the kind of the magical thing about this issue is that I didn't really notice a lot of inconsistency between 4 different pencilers in the issue. And I think that really what DC does is as the issue kind of changes tones, they start to introduce the next artist. For instance, Daniel Bayliss kind of kicks off this issue and has a much more kind of like modern naturalistic tone. And I think that's what kind of sets Bayliss apart from an artist like George Kambadais. But DC Comics does a great job shifting the artist in this issue appropriately to kind of the subject matter to make it so you're not really going to notice these artistic switches unless you're maybe a little bit more familiar with comic book art. But the entire issue kind of really had a sense of flow and was really able to kind of be interpreted despite so many artistic changes. And also, it was really interesting to kind of see the actual story for the issue, the script, take on such a high concept premise. We already have the Justice League Dark, and this issue is mixing some Justice Society of America characters like Alan Scott. It's taking on like new DC generation heroes like Jonathan Kent and Levi Kamei. And it's mixing them with the Justice League Dark that we were talking about earlier. So there is so much going on in this script here. But I think for the most part, it's handled really well. One of the weakest parts of the comic book I found was the actual setup of the premise, because it really wasn't super clear to me or explained in enough depth why the kind of Justice League or the Justice League Dark was so willing to kind of enter Alan Scott's ring in the first place. But if that's kind of like the backdrop of the issue and the necessary kind of coding to get these characters together, I'm a little bit more willing to kind of accept, the premise at large. Also, I really like how this issue kind of put a little bit more focus on Raven, because I don't think we typically get to see the spotlight shining on Raven that much in most issues. Also, I love how subtle this issue is about bringing back some plot threads from Justice League Dark. I'm not going to spoil kind of like the surprises that we have in this issue, especially if you're a huge Justice League Dark fan. But if you read that comic book, especially in the last capacity with, Ram V and James Tynion as the writer of that series, you're really going to find like some of those character concepts and, some of those ideas kind of carry over into this issue, but it's not so strong that this is just another issue of Justice League Dark. Also, there's so much going on in this book, but I love the attention to detail that the entire creative team has to the original Crisis on Infinite Earths. There is no Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths without the original Crisis. And, this issue does a wonderful job kind of putting Pariah into the focal point of the event, which in my eyes is extremely important because, basically he is the emotional core of Dark Crisis. And I love how our superheroes finally get a little bit more context and more idea behind just how guilty Pariah is of, starting this crisis, in the first place. Also, the backup kind of plot line with Constantine is written incredibly well. It features so many dark concepts and ideas. It does a wonderful job pulling on the threads from older Justice League series and just has this air about it and this, sense of noir to it that I just absolutely loved. The kind of reveal towards the end of the issue regarding Superman and Swamp Thing is, I think, what's going to have a lot of people talking about this issue. It's really just more of a smaller, condensed kind of coda to end the book, but very cool to get that revelation. As one final thing I'll say from like the character beats here, all of the moments between the dual Swamp Thing characters, which is even shown off in this interior page, was really nice. It was written really carefully and does a really great job blending like Alec Holland versus Levi Kemme and showing off some of their differences in the issue. So I am incredibly impressed with Dark Crisis, the Deadly Green #1. Even though there are so many creators on the comic book, I think this end result of a script was really worth it. I say this just about every week, but I am so impressed with Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think it's offering such a strong kind of like emotional core that it's just undeniable for me to really enjoy and start to appreciate how much this is really tapping into what a DC Comics event can be. Also, it was so fantastic kind of catching up with the Justice League Dark in this series. It was almost like, getting caught up with old friends, but I felt that it was done so in a new context that wasn't cheesy at all. So at the end of the day here, we have another fantastic Dark Crisis tie-in. I've loved just about all of these in this event so far, but I want to know what you think about the issue. Did you like it as much as I did? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm going to be back for more DC and Marvel Comics videos later this week, so make sure to go ahead and keep it tuned over to the channel. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.